Babylon's Fall, an appropriate name for this video game for all the wrong reasons. The game continues to fall. It is the new live service from Square Enix and Platinum Games that have flopped tremendously. Looking at its Metacritic scores, you can see that critics have given it a 40% from 40 reviews, and the user score is looking even worse at 2.2 from just 166 ratings. This is the PlayStation 5 version of the game. Looking at the PC version, the Metascore is at 46%, not that much better, from 12 critic reviews, and a user score of 1.5. And this actually makes Babylon's Fall, in terms of Metascore, the second worst release of the year. If you go to Metacritic and sort by year 2022 and check games across all platforms and go to the very last page and scroll all the way down, you'll see that the PlayStation 5 and PC versions of Babylon's Fall have taken up second to last and third to last spots. The only other game that's worse than Babylon's Fall based on Metascore is Crossfire X. I believe that's a Counter-Strike-esque kind of title that, yeah, I've heard nothing but awful things about. And then as far as PlayStation 5 games go, Babylon's Fall has actually become the worst PlayStation 5 game of all time. If you filter Metacritic to only show PlayStation 5 games and you scroll all the way down on its second page, you'll see Babylon's Fall dead last at 193 or 193rd. And the game isn't faring any better on Steam, which you can see right here. Doesn't have many reviews, which goes to show that not a whole lot of players have really engaged with this game. It's got an overall review score of mixed, 46%, and a mostly negative review as of late, 39% from 43 user reviews. Now, where the danger really looms for this game is in the diminishing players, and the thing is, it already from the outset didn't have many players at launch. The all-time peak, as you can see from Steam charts here, was a measly 1,166 players, effectively making the all-time peak of Babylon's Fall evenly match with some of Battlefield 2042's worst numbers. The game's currently hovering at sort of 1,000 to 2,000 players. Not good at all. That was the all-time peak for Babylon's Fall. And then looking at average numbers, you can see that 24-hour peaks are in the very low triple digits. And more often than not, at any given time, you're looking at double digits in terms of concurrent players. And looking at this chart, you can see the rise and fall. It goes into triple digits, back down to double digits. Now, what's especially telling about the state of this game and how much it has fallen and how close it is to dying is the fact that at one point, the concurrent players reached a measly 8 players. It actually fell below double digits at one point into the single digits. That is not a good sign at all for a game that's only been out. How long? This game launched on March 3rd, 2022. It's been a month and a half, and this game's already dipping into single digits on Steam. I guess we don't know what PlayStation 5 numbers look like, but I can't imagine they're faring much better. The game also did come out on PlayStation 4, so maybe that platform has the most players, who knows? But either way, it cannot be that much higher or that much different than what Steam is showing here. I don't suspect this has been a successful game on any platform. This is alarming enough that a number of outlets have already picked up on this story, like Video Games Chronicle here, who released the following article on April 17th, 2022, titled, "Babylon's Fall dropped to less than 10 concurrent PC players this week. The Square Enix and Platinum Online game appears to have had a very slow start, and it would seem as though it's headed towards an unceremonious finish." I cannot see them salvaging this unless they straight up pull a Realm Reborn kind of scenario. Square Enix did bring Final Fantasy XIV back from the brink, so at least there's that, but that was so long ago, and lately it's felt like the only live service Square Enix can get right is Final Fantasy XIV, and that in large part feels like it's owed to Yoshi P, who's been leading the game in the right direction. But as far as the Square Enix executives and their push for live services is concerned, it's been one failure after another, and Babylon's Fall is the worst case of this yet as far as Square Enix is concerned. And when it comes to Platinum Games, they've had, in terms of game quality, a pretty good track record. Babylon's Fall is one of their really big flops, both commercially and critically. It's a damn shame, really, because I know Platinum Games financially has already been kind of struggling, not in tip-top shape. I fear for how Babylon's Fall awful performance is going to affect the studio. Now, the developers of Babylon's Fall insist that they're not giving up on the game. They insist that this live service is not in danger. They released the following statement on March 18th, 2022, as concerns began to spread, given the low number of players at launch day, given the lackluster quality in gameplay and visuals, you name it. It's just not a fun game. It's not a compelling game to play or look at. Babylon's Fall, in response to concerns, on March 18th, tweeted, "Today we revealed new information about version 1.1.0, the Nier Automata collaboration event, and the future of Babylon's Fall development." Read the full update here. Now, attached to the tweet is an image showing a statement from the team, and here's what that statement reads like. "Is the continuing service in danger? No," they claim. "There are no plans to reduce the scale of development on Babylon's Fall." Yeah, I don't believe that one bit. If you're telling me that Square Enix on some level hasn't been shaken by just how poorly Babylon's Fall performed, and they aren't thinking about stepping away from this project that essentially is dead on arrival, then yeah, you must think people are delusional. Now, they did say that a lot of the upcoming content is kind of already practically complete. Content up to the end of Season 2 is now practically complete, and we have started to work on Season 3 and beyond. We'll continue to provide new content for the game and make improvements based on player feedback, striving to keep existing players playing and to attract newcomers. I guess we'll see what Season 2 content will entail, but it's going to have to be something truly substantial, and the updates are going to have to be miraculous to bring this game back from the brink. It launched on the brink, and it's only getting worse and worse. I mean, life support seems too kind of a phrase to describe the state of the game right now. With concurrent players being at best in the low triple digits and at worst in the single digits, I cannot imagine how Square Enix as a publisher would deem continuing to add content to this game financially worthwhile. Unless there are plans for some major updates, fixes, content additions, and overhauls, I cannot see this game lasting all that much longer. Now, if you click on the provided article here from this tweet, you get taken to this blog post of sorts on the official Babylon's Fall website that discusses all of the feedback that they've received from players and the various ways in which the team hopes to address them. So at the very least, there are signs that the team is taking the feedback seriously, but it's a matter of, is it too little, too late? Is there way too much work to do to the point where it cannot get done in time for this game to be revitalized? Because already, since launch, people have moved on from this game. Very few people gave it so much as a passing look. So whatever comes next has to be something truly mind-blowing, something, again, Realm Reborn or No Man's Sky level. But I'll be honest with you, I just don't foresee that happening, but I'd love for Platinum and Square Enix to prove me wrong. It would seem as though on some level Square Enix and Platinum Games are adamant about continuing this game's live service. According to Video Games Chronicle's article published on March 14th here, Square Enix has been seeking fan feedback on how to improve Babylon's Fall, launching a survey and all of these things. And, you know, that's nice and all. But understand that Babylon's Fall launched far worse than Marvel's Avengers did, and that game already had a pretty rough launch, with an all-time peak concurrent player number of 28,145, which is decent. It's certainly a lot better than Babylon's Fall 1,000-something, but for a game titled Marvel's Avengers, using the Avengers brand, this should have been a far higher number, but the game's quality didn't allow for that, as word spread far and wide that people probably shouldn't get this game at launch, and then from there it just never picked up pace, which is why Marvel's Avengers is currently sitting in the 400s when it comes to daily concurrent players. Even compared to Marvel's Avengers, which I thought would be the worst case scenario for a Square Enix live service, Babylon's Fall is just faring that much worse. Its all-time peak concurrent players is roughly 25 times less than Marvel's Avengers all-time peak concurrent players. So if Marvel's Avengers, which is in an awful state, but compared to Babylon's Fall doing much better, isn't showing signs of some kind of major comeback, how can we expect Babylon's Fall to be any different despite the developers' insistence that the live service is in no danger whatsoever? I'm sorry, but it's impossible for me to believe a single word of this statement, this claim that everything's going to be okay, we're going to keep working on it. I do believe them when they say that work on Season 2 content is practically complete. I'm sure they're going to release that since the content's already there. But in terms of like Season 3 and beyond, just how much further can you really go past Season 2? And considering Square Enix's missteps and poor decisions surrounding live services, like how they contracted Crystal Dynamics to make a live service, Marvel's Avengers, a studio that's more experienced with those large-scale action-adventure experiences like Tomb Raider, and them trying to shoehorn live service into anything that has potential to make them revenue, and in turn ruining the integrity of that project, and in turn ruining positive word of mouth, I don't suspect that Square Enix can make smart decisions surrounding Babylon's Fall current state and really bring it back from the brink. The one similar game that's that similar type of multiplayer looter kind of experience that did fairly well was Outriders, with an all-time peak of 125,123 players. But this game really isn't a live service. It was meant to be released as a standalone experience, not something meant to be updated continuously throughout the course of years and whatnot. So it makes sense that this game's numbers has diminished quite a bit in the past few months, and this non-live service looter experience is doing better, significantly better than Marvel's Avengers here, and certainly a whole lot better than Babylon's Fall. But Outriders did launch pretty roughly and failed to capitalize on that initial hype to kind of keep things going. So it's not a major mega blockbuster, but I do believe it made Square Enix some money. But still, this game went through a whole lot of trouble post-launch before things stabilized, and that's just commonplace with Square Enix live services and AAA live services in general, which are rushed out to launch and are not given the proper time to cook in the oven for it to launch complete and polished. Babylon's Fall, on top of all that, is just, I think, a poorly conceived project. And once again, it felt like Square Enix shoehorning a looter-shooter formula into a more Platinum-style video game, but it just detracted Platinum Games from doing their best work because they were trying to shoehorn a formula that they're not used to making, and so they just couldn't make what they're best at. They couldn't sort of go all in on their speciality. And Babylon's Fall is the end result of all of that. A game whose critical reception is freaking awful and whose player numbers have dipped so low. Alive is not even a word that I would use to describe its launch. It pretty much, as far as I'm concerned, died on day one. And if it can make a miraculous comeback, that's obviously the ideal scenario, but in the game's current state, I just don't know how that will be possible. But that's just one man's take. Let me know in the comments below whether you agree with me or whether you have a more hopeful outlook for Babylon's Fall future, whether there is something about the game that has enough potential for the game to potentially make a comeback if Square Enix and Platinum Games handle their cards right, or do you think if this game is just done, which is what I think. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.